Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look here at AVAX, see what's going on. Looks like this rising wedge pattern effectively played out nicely. Keep in mind, majority of that's based on the predication that Bitcoin has been pulling back ever since, and we hit our local high, that 2750 range. So how much lower is this going to go? That's a question I'm getting a lot right now, and the general way to understand it is until we break this descending trend line, there's no reason to consider it's going to just continue higher, okay? Even if we break the descending trend line, we need to establish higher highs and higher lows after that to ensure that we are back on track. So we're still a long ways away from that. We're also in this local point of control here where we can see working as a resistance at about 2630. We did talk about that previously being a potential support, which it was, but if you see here, there's an obvious breakdown pattern here where the price action establishes lower highs and parallel lows and inevitably breaks down. It's very, very similar to what we saw with ICP, which is why we took a short trade here with the bear flag where the price action kind of worked itself into a channel and inevitably broke down, okay? So again, parallel and or ascending channels, depending on how they derive or where they come from first, will tell you the direction they're going to continue. If you're not familiar with that, jump on over to our Discord. I got all these patterns in here arranged by success rate too. So awesome stuff. The most successful one, of course, is head and shoulders, and then close second is rectangles, which we saw with Bitcoin, a bearish rectangle. And again, I'm just kind of throwing this out here because when you look at Bitcoin's chart, what was it here from before? We saw a bearish rectangle for Bitcoin and it's breaking down nicely. Okay, so again, standard stuff in a lot of ways. Nothing too crazy here. Just know that we're expecting Bitcoin to pull back further. If it does come up, it might be a fake out. It just really feels like the overall sentiment is still downtrend. I'm not saying this is a macro downtrend. I think it's more short term, but it's still doing what it's supposed to right now. So why take a long into that? Just doesn't make sense. A lot of folks like to take longs at the bottom and kind of go from there. But the truth is, until you know where the bottom is, why do it? It's just a higher risk trade and it doesn't make any sense. If you could please hit the like button before we get started. Let's go ahead and take a look at liquidation, see what's going on here, and recognize that there are more shorts than longs to the upside about 27.80. That makes sense. That's a local high. The more recent local low here at about $26 even got hit very hard. You can see a lot of late longs there getting in and getting destroyed. Again, folks, don't be a late long. It's much better to be a long that takes a trade on confirmation than to just take a trade because you feel the bottom is in. Support and resistances are important to trade too, don't get me wrong, and you can go with slightly larger success rate with that. But everything on the chart is kind of telling us that the price is more likely to go down than up because we haven't even established a range yet. Okay, so until we do that, we got to presume it's going to go lower. Okay, so from a macro perspective here, liquidation is kind of all over the place, but we can kind of see the outliers, 23.50, and then potentially about $29 to $30. So between now and then, it's really hard to say specifically what's going to happen with liquidation events, but what we want to look at here is more so the local fibs. We'll go ahead and work our way down from the daily time frame and go from there. So when it comes to retracement and the price pulling back, 0.382, 0.5, and 0.618 are the common areas of retracement. That's why you'll see Elliott wave, as kind of like showing that we have like an ABC pattern to the downside. Those commonly retrace to these levels. It's not an exact science, folks, and if you're only using Elliott wave, you got a lot to learn. That's not the only way to trade. So be careful trusting those who are just strictly Elliott wave professionals. Those are a lot of hypotheticals. They're going to give you best case scenarios in both directions. They're always going to be right because they give you both directional considerations. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with risk management, but that's all it is. It's nothing that should be used solely on its own. And again, every indicator that you use, you shouldn't be like, you can maybe prioritize or make sense. Feel like one is more favored than another, but to use that one thing just like a trading pattern, for example, shouldn't be the case. So I'm just kind of saying this because I want everyone to learn that diversifying your trading technique is important. So when we look at the daily time frame here, we're going to look at a couple of indicators and then work our way down, right? Every time frame tells a different story, but you don't want to use too many time frames either. I know it's kind of a funny thing, but there's some people that use like 50 different time frames, and all they're doing is convincing themselves to take a trade. We should be doing the exact opposite of that. Let's convince ourselves not to take a trade. If there's too many contributing factors saying that we should go in one way or the other, then we should get in. Like Bitcoin, for example, we have a short open with Bitcoin. We got in about 62,300. The reason why we took a short is because there's so many contributing factors that the price is going to go down lower. It doesn't make any sense to take a long, okay? Same scenario here as well. AVAX is probably a very similar situation considering it's following Bitcoin so far, so good. All right, so take a look here. 50 on the RSI, so far lost. This is not great. Generally speaking, when you're averaging above and below, we're in a situation where the price action is more likely to go up and down, right? So when it squeezes and compresses at 50, I don't trust it too much, but this general consensus is being under 50 is not good. Money flow index is below the price action. It has been for a little while. That shows weakness. We don't like to see that. Basically implying there's more selling pressure than what people see as a good value. People are trying to get in even though the price is going down. It makes no sense. Stochastic RSI is swinging down. MACD is kind of sort of diverging, and more importantly, TSI is bottoming out. So the general consensus here is it's not good. This is not a great situation. And we do take a look here. Of course, we're under the 20-day SMA. Most coins are in that range. Getting above the 20-day SMA, in my personal opinion, is a benefit. It should be used as a resistance range. So just keep in mind being below that is not great. But also being above the 50 is good too. So we're kind of, again, in that little transition, if you will. Generally speaking, when you're in a transition, what do you know, folks? You don't take a trade. Okay, anyways, I beat that dead horse a lot, I'm sorry, but I just like to reaffirm best practices. Some people seem to think that crypto is all about having an open position at every single minute of your life. Like I've gone weeks before without taking trades. It's okay to do that. Just chill. Anyways, 0.618, 25, low $25 range. I'm speculating that's going to be our local support. It's a previous low. It's an area that's seen a lot of confluence, and it would make sense to see a bounce there. However, to get there between now and then, we got the 200-day SMA to contend with. That's generally going to be a support range. So we're getting close to this potential bottom. It just depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin runs towards low 61 to 60K range, you bet your butt AVAX is going to hit $25. There's no other way around it. 4-hour time frame, we can see here, bearish divergence. We're stuck under 50 on the RSI. Money flow index is low, stochastic swinging down, MACD is diverging, TSI is low. There's literally nothing here except for the 200-day SMA that's a consolation, at the very best, telling us we won't take a long. So again, it's cool if you're going to take a long and you're going to try to rub it in people's faces and show how awesome you are. But I tell you what, folks, there's nothing worse than somebody that brags about a trade that is super high risk and makes no sense at all. And they change the dynamic of what people think is realistic trading. It's just a unique phenomenon, super common in crypto, and it's really unfortunate. Either way, I traded traditional markets for 15 years. I've been in crypto for closer to 5-6 years, somewhere there. And I can tell you in that time frame, it's been awesome because conservative trading styles work great for crypto, mainly because I'm not getting destroyed with high leverage. We use 5x leverage for altcoins, 10x leverage for Bitcoin. For example, we took a short with ICP, short at 820 to 787, 21% safe trade. Had we used high leverage, we would have got stopped out because the price was wicking all over the place. Doesn't make any sense, right? Okay, anyways, that's just best practice stuff, folks. This should be rudimentary, simple stuff, but you know, it's to each their own, right? Okay, so we're respecting our descending trend line. Conversion lines below the baseline. Lagging spans free and clear. The cloud is way above the price action. There is no reason to take a long position, folks. We've literally confirmed on every single time frame there's bearish divergences. While they're not like stark and like 110%, they're pretty high. We add everything up here, probably 80-90% probability we see further downside. So just keep in mind, if you have you have a liquidation event somewhere in the $25 range, you're probably A, either doing it wrong, or B, you shouldn't be doing it at all, because right now there's too much downside momentum. There's a lot of shorts in the market right now, and it doesn't make a ton of sense to take a trade to the upside. Again, that's just me personally. I get that there's a bottom here. We're seeing a nice little support range. That's all well and good, but Bitcoin's due to correct further, and if it does, I think AVAX will too. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Make sure you check out Bitunix, folks, if you haven't already. Awesome bonus. These guys are phenomenal. No KYC or VPN required exchange. My US members, Canadian members, we all use Bitunix. They've been phenomenal to us. BTCC is an awesome alternative too. They have good demo trading options, so be sure to check them out. But this is like kind of a hands-down deposit bonus, easy money. Thanks again, folks. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you next one. Take care.